So you want to make more money from your sales process. You want to increase the amount of conversions that you get. You want to increase the amount of money that you get because you don't want to keep chasing after leads and get like very little ROI on your advertising system and on your marketing system. Then the answer is having a dialed in follow-up process. I've talked in previous videos about having a dialed in sales process. I'm not going to go into details here on having a good sales process. That's obviously also a requirement, but as they say in almost all sales education courses and statistics, the money is in the follow-ups, right? I think it's like 80% of deals are done after the 5th or 6th follow-up. Most salespeople only follow up like once or twice. So how can you create a follow-up process that is not pushy, that is not, sleazy, generic, but that also creates sales? And the answer to that is value-driven follow-up. And shout out to my man, Jeremy Haynes, for giving me this idea. So basically, value-driven follow-up is creating a process where you don't follow up with asking the prospect to buy, asking them if they're ready to consume your service or product, but rather you follow up with value. You follow up with valuable pieces of content, of articles, of any type of valuable material so that you can keep the conversation going, right? In a very natural way, right? Because for me, it's way more disingenuous if you call the prospect and ask, hey, I just wanted to check in, right? Like see if you're ready to buy. That's kind of like everybody knows the people you call, they're not like babies. They don't need to get reminded that you exist, that you want to sell them something. Rather, the conversation should be like, hey, I just wanted to send you this article or this case study showing how we did this for our clients, right? Like it had an amazing result. And I think it could benefit you from watching this. And if you ever want to continue the conversation we had on our sales call, then feel free to reach out to me, right? Like that's a very natural way of communicating, whereas the other way is very disingenuous. Without further ado, let's hop into the computer. Let's walk through our SOP on how to do value-driven follow-up. So our approach to sales is a value-based follow-up. And this is a radically different approach to sales like most people are doing it. I want to say like probably 99% of sales reps and companies are ignoring that. And this can increase your sales by 2x, 3x, 4x. We've seen huge increases in sales. And the whole concept is basically you want to give value when you follow up, right? Like the typical messages with follow up is, hey, just following up here. Did you see my last message? Can we schedule a call? Did you check out my this? Did you check out my that? Have you thought about this and that? Right? And I've been guilty of that in the past as well. So, there's no shame in not knowing this. But the new approach is just incredibly effective, right? Because these are selfishly motivated follow-up questions, right? Like the person knows that you exist, you pitch them, they know you have a product to sell, and you don't have to remind them like a kindergartner that you still want to sell them that product, right? Instead, what we want to do is we want to flip it on its head, right? We want to communicate value every time we follow up, right? Or every time we want to communicate, we want to create value, right? So how do we do this? Well, mainly we want to share them, we want to provide them with valuable information, right? Additional information, additional value. So I do think number one, and I've always been preaching this, videos are the best source of value, right? That means either you can record videos, preferably, right? Or, you can send them somebody else's videos in case, you're in some way connected with them or that fits the topic, right? For example, I would say like maybe a news video or something like that. But this should be mainly, in my opinion, your videos, right? And the cool thing is that, videos can be turned into articles, right? It's super easy to turn a good video into an article. The other way around, you just have to shoot it, right? You can just transcribe it with ChatGPT, make it write professional articles. And these articles can be posted on publications. These articles can be posted on LinkedIn, social media and stuff like that, or even as a blog post if it's valuable. But you can also share articles from other sources, right? So that means, like if some law gets updated, some algorithm gets updated, if something changes in the environment that your client is in or that your prospect is in. Then, of course, case studies, client reviews, testimonials, interviews, great source of value. You can introduce them to a previous client, say like, hey, this client would love to speak to you because he's such a big fan of our product. And then, of course, podcasts, reports, etc. And I'm going to go into details on that a little bit later. But that way you're basically providing value and you're not pushing for the sale. You're just staying top of mind and you're also building expertise, right? Without always trying to sell, right? This just differentiates you radically from everybody else that's doing. I mean, most people are not even doing follow-up, but those who do, normally they're very pushy with their sales follow-up. So this creates basically a very low pressure environment, right? It's not about, hey, do you want to commit? Do you want to commit now? Do you want to commit now? Right? It keeps you on the radar, and they will remember you without them feeling harassed, right? It's actually going to be a very positive feeling, right? So you want to do them, you want to send them something at least once a week, right? Like that's, in my opinion, a very good cadence. So one video a week should be what you guys are all producing. So, sending an email with this once a week, that's perfect, right? And that's why email also works so well as a follow-up mechanism, right? Because you can just casually send them some value here. And the real key is going to be basically being prepared. Having a library of content, articles, case studies, videos, so you can offer them the relevant value at any time. So a couple ideas here, how you can do that specifically, and like obviously if you work with me, we will probably have that already scripted out for you and done for you, right? But normally, long form videos on YouTube, going over FAQs, right? Like kind of frequently asked questions is always a great way to add some value, right? Maybe there was an unanswered question in the call. Maybe they just have, like a little bit of time issues. Great way to stay on top of mind. Going over objections, same way here. And I could probably add, long form videos on YouTube going over the news, right? Because that obviously applies to the same principle as news articles. Right? Like if there's some change, you can make a video about it. Then I would say like important articles in your niche, right? So that means updates to some laws, to some regulations, right? Like obviously you can always connect this to politics. People love politics. So it's like, hey, if those people get to power, that might change. They've talked about changing this. Now it's the time to prepare, right? Like that obviously in terms of taxes, in terms of money, right? Like that's always going to work well. But also in any other niche, in my opinion. So just kind of like you can go on like once a week. I don't know if you're not doing this. I would recommend you do this for yourself, right? You kind of research what's going on and keep your prospects updated, right? That's a very good way of actually providing value without doing anything. You just have to share a link. And obviously, we have great ChatGPT prompts to just turn something into an email, right? And that's a very, very easy way of actually following up with people. Now, articles that you publish, right? Whether you publish in, well-known publications, you can also publish articles on LinkedIn. That's, for example, a great source that gives you authority, that makes you seem, authoritative, but you actually have full control over it. So great way here also, you just take a video, you transcribe it, you turn it into an article. Very, very low amount of work. If you're working with us, right, like that's obviously what we're doing as well. Case studies, client written reviews, client interviews, those are very powerful, right? Like people want to know that you can actually prove that you can deliver on what you're promising. Obviously, you'll have to find some people who allow you to do that. But like Google reviews, hey, we just got a couple new reviews on Google. We did this and this and that for them. Check them out. Podcast interviews, great source of authority. You could probably say like, a recording of you speaking on stage. Speaking gig. I'm just going to add that here. And obviously, what some people that we're working with are doing is they deliver, custom reports to their client about their situation, right? So kind of like after you have a sales call, you deliver a custom report summarizing what the issue was, what your proposal is, and everything, right? Like obviously that adds also value so that people have kind of like in written form what you guys talked about. So normally how you can do this as well, you can have somewhat of a template and then, just transcribe the recording of the conversation with the client and fill it in with ChatGPT. Also very low effort way of actually adding a lot of value, right? Like if you have like all of these together, right, and you have like, 50 different pieces, you can just send it like every week. You can send them something very, very valuable, and they will not hate you for this. They will actually like it. And sometimes it takes a year or 2 or 3 for people to sign up, but this way you're just going to scoop up all of the people who are very interested, but you didn't catch them on the first sales call, right? Which is getting less and less common, because people obviously want to do their research, they want to think about things and everything, right? Yeah, and then just kind of like producing regular YouTube videos that are not FAQs, objection news, like is just always recommended. And if you combine this value-driven follow-up strategy with effective value-based retargeting, right, so where we take your content and actually retarget people, you're just going to be always top of mind. And as soon as kind of like they're ready, or as soon as you send them the right email, the right message, they will just jump on the opportunity of working with you, right? And like I said, I have no doubt this will increase your sales by multiple times, right? Because this is just very, very effective. It's very, very low pressure. It makes you completely different from everybody else. Well, I mean, first of all, you're doing follow-up. That's what already 90% are not doing. And from the 10% that are doing follow-up, everybody's just pressuring people. So do this, and it will make you a lot more money. Now, if you enjoyed that video and you want to download the SOP in a written format, then click the link below. We'll link the SOP there. You can download it. And if you need help growing your business, scaling it with content advertising systems, educational advertising systems that produce more sales and less frictions, then also click the link below and schedule a free 20-minute call with our team.